Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tyburczy.
What is up, my friends? This is Rudy Tyburczy coming at you with episode 57 of Jokes and the Gym. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it so much. I thank you for being who you are, for checking in with me today, saying hello. I love that. It's so nice to have people in your life that do that, and you don't always realize how important those little hellos are until you don't have them sometimes. So, reach out to somebody and say hello today, or go eat lunch with a friend, grab a coffee with a coworker, do something to spread a little love. Because isn't that one of the things we're here for? Isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I'm still kind of recovering from a rough week or two where it's been pretty hard for me to find time to rest, or it's been necessary for me to find time to rest. That's a better way to put it. I think it last weekend it required a lot of me to help a friend move, and that meant that I couldn't do as much afterwards. And this week and last weekend, I had told someone I was going to help them move, and so I did. And that was a lot of work because I helped them move a lot. And because of that, I needed some rest days. Last week I had more rest days than I normally would. Now, people see me do the exercise of the day and stuff like that, and they think that I'm just working out all the time. And that's not exactly true. Well, I do love exercise. I love working out. I do it regularly, 5 times a week. That's my goal, is 5 good days, hearty workouts a week. I like 3 lift days and 2 movement days right now, but that kind of changes. But something like that, I think, is a really great place for most folks. I say, if you can lift twice a week and move twice a week, that's a great start. And then you go from there. If you want to add something to the lift, another day, lift 3 days and move 2 days, or move 3 days and lift 2. You can get benefits from as few as 1 day of strength training a week. So lift some weights. I saw something somewhere that only 4% of the American population is lifting weights right now. Are you freaking kidding me? What are you talking about, dog? 4%? If there was a drug that did everything that exercise did, every doctor would be prescribing it because it's the best. And the fact that only 4% of us are still doing that bums me out. I hope that's not true. But it's from Dr. John Rusin. I saw online a tweet or whatever of his. So get out there and move. That's why I do the exercise of the day, so people can see options. You have a million different options for exercises. Just do a little something. Work on your hinge, work on your lunge, work on a press, work on something today. But after it's also important to have those rest days. I love a rest day. Oh my gosh. I kind of just vegged out this weekend. I needed a full-on veg week. And I gave myself a couple of those days because I'm also house sitting for my mom, cat sitting. I got to go between different houses. I got to feed additional cats. I got to do a bunch more. So my mind is kind of all over the place. And there's a lot that it is scattered between. So having some time to relax can be very helpful for me. So, but it was also nice to get a show in. I was on Bleepin' Funny this weekend. Love Bleepin' Funny. It's just a fun little local show, clean show, 5 p.m. show on a Saturday at the institution that is Sam Bonds. Shout out to Leanne Jashway. Such a fun show with such a fun crowd. It was a little quiet, but so it's 5 p.m. People were ready for soup. I get it. But it's nice to be able to do those things, and so I'm trying to hold comedy in a more jovial light, and that's feeling okay for the time being. So I'm kind of adjusting things because I want to look at stuff with more of a service mindset, of a mindset of how can I contribute to the community around me, to the people around me, and that's just the mindset I gotta take forth. I remember Abhishek, friend of the program. I'm excited to look at his interview again, his conversation again. But he said something along the lines of, if I keep doing this, if I keep doing comedy, I have to find a reason, a way to make it bigger than just myself. And that is a beautiful thing to keep in mind. I really appreciate that perspective, because it's so easy to get lost in ego in comedy. And I've fallen victim to that myself. And so I'm really trying to move away from that, because that's not who I want to be. And I think that if I'm honest with myself, comedy hasn't always helped me be the person I want to be. I love comedy. I love what it does. I love what it provides. I love improving, working, getting better, trying, going on trips, meeting friends, working with amazing comedians and people, thrilling a crowd. I love all those things. Hi, Bubba. Bubba loves those things. But it doesn't always lead to you being in like the best place mentally, honestly. And I really wish that there had been a time in my life when I could just fully go for it and really focus on comedy, but I haven't had that to this point. And I'm not saying I won't get an opportunity to, like, maybe I'll be able to headline shows and go on tours and do that kind of stuff. I would love that chance, but who knows? Who knows how it's all going to play out? And I'm going to just enjoy what I can do in the meantime. I'm going to pet my cats and make silly videos and put out the podcast and train people at the Y and other places as well, and work out and do shows and crack some jokes. Bubba, how does that sound to you, girl? I think she likes it. She's forlorn. Oh, yeah. But I also just want it to be fun, and people who go to shows to enjoy themselves, to have a good time. I think also, to quote Abhi, may my words bring joy, and may my words not hurt anyone here. I love that idea, and I'm keeping those in mind, because bumps and bruises are going to take place. It's going to happen. We're going to get knocked around. If you do comedy, you're going to get knocked around. If you work out, you're going to get knocked around. You're going to feel it. I woke up feeling my ankle this morning. I was in bed last night, couldn't lay on a side because my shoulder, all that kind of stuff. That's real. Bumps and bruises are part of it. I get my feelings hurt because of this, that, or the other. But then I look at things and I think, you know what? I've also accomplished a lot. I had to fill out a W-9 for comedy last year, which felt great. It was like, I'm working hard. I'm getting some opportunities, and I'm thankful for that. And so I just will continue to take those as they come, because I love comedy. I love doing comedy, and I think I actually do a decent job of it. I'm not the world's best comic. I rely on some hokey gimmicks sometimes, and I'm just trying to have fun as opposed to be a great comedian. I want to be a better comedian. I want to keep getting better, but I also am trying to have fun out there and trying to be present with the people who are in that room with me. So, that's one great salve for all those bumps and bruises, is having a fun show, getting a couple chuckles, that kind of thing. So just know that if you're out there, if you're putting yourself out there in any kind of way, whether that's trying to get healthier, trying to get funnier, trying to be a better person, it's going to be hard. There's going to be times when you scrape your freaking face. You fall down and bite shit. Do people say that? I hope not. Sorry, I hope you're not biting shit. That sounds awful. But know that it's not going to be easy. If you want to work out, if you want to get in shape, whether that's in the gym or on the mic, it takes time. And that's okay. Just be prepared for a variety of rides, because those rides, they're coming whether you want them or not. And I think most of my guests know all that. They've been through so much as comedians and just as people. And one of those people that has been through a lot is a very funny comic from Eureka. Her name's Jessica Grant. She's hilarious. She's been plying her trade down there, and she's doing her best. She had a battle with cancer. She beat the shit out of cancer. And now she's still cracking wise, dog. So I'm interested to hear the kind of things that she's learned. So enjoy this part of the conversation with Jessica Grant.
If you could tell young Jessica, early Jessica, beginning comedy Jessica, anything, if she could take anything to heart, what do you wish she knew when she was starting on this journey?
That it's, first of all, ditch the notes. It's okay to go on stage without your notebook. You don't have to have it written on your hand. I noticed that I do better kind of in a free form. I have my pre-written jokes, but if I just let them flow naturally, that, and dude, you don't need to be so nervous.
Yeah.
There's no reason. It's not that big of a deal. Whether you're performing in front of 10 people or 1,000 people, it's still supposed to be fun.
Right. Yeah. And so keeping that fun in mind is one of the key things, right? How do you keep that in mind? Do you have to remind yourself? How do you try to have fun?
Yes, I do have to remind myself every show that this is for fun.
Yeah.
And just rolling with the punches. I think I used to set myself up for failure by writing my set, having it, exactly the way that I want it to, and then I show up to the show and it's not the crowd I was expecting. It's older people, or it's younger people, or it's one time I did a bit about, it was very anti-woman, not intentionally, but I did it to a room full of women, and they were like, yeah, this is not for us.
Yeah, so not loving it.
Yeah, so just being able to roll with the punches, really.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I struggle with as well, because I think I'm not great at memorizing stuff. So I do like to have a set list, like just on a table nearby, because I'm a visual person and I like to flow. I love to flow and go wherever the night leads us on stage and where the audience wants to go. They deserve that feeling of spontaneity, but I feel like I'm better able to access it when I am prepared. So I have that skeleton in place. It's like, okay, I am prepared to do this 10-minute set one way or another, but if I don't touch my notes, I love that.
Yeah.
Like it's so rewarding when you're like, oh, I just did 20 minutes and didn't look at the cheat sheet once or whatever. That does feel good. But I feel like that conversation as far as notes or no notes, I lean on the notes are okay side.
Oh, absolutely. If Jerry Seinfeld can bring his notebook on stage, I've had a couple bookers be like, you're not going to take your notes up there, right? It's like, well, do you want me to remember what I'm talking about?
Right, yeah. I'm not reading a script. It's just like little touch points throughout the set. So it's like, okay, I'm back on track.
I still do that. I just give myself kind of a broader range of, I'm not trying to do the perfect 5-minute set. I'm just having things that'll jog my memory.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's so funny. Comedy's so damn fickle. It's like you can have a perfect 5-minute set at the first show of the night, and then you go to the next show or the next venue or the next night, and you're like, crickets. Nobody gave a flying fuck about that set tonight. And I know these jokes are gold, and I know this is a fun set. And so it fucks with your head too.
Yeah.
So like, okay, how can I keep it fun? How can I keep it joyful? And I've gone so far as like, I write joy. I write the vibe that I want to imbue a set with on the set list. So I keep that in mind. So that's cool. Even more present. So I'm like, okay, how can I just kind of like make this more of what I want it to be? So that's part of the fun. And I'm still, you know what? I still do have fun up there. Sometimes you need those sets that are just like, oh, this was so fun. I had such a good time.
Yeah.
And hopefully, those just keep rolling.
There you go. You heard it from Jessica Grant. Ditch the notes, go with the flow, and have some freaking fun. I think those are all good ways to go about it at times, right? You got to be able to go with the flow at times. You got to be able to go up there and just start rolling. And if you do that, chances are you might have some fun. I like the sounds of that. That's some good advice. And I work on all those things. I'm working on all those things consistently. And it doesn't always work. And I'm still a work in progress. So that's good to keep in mind as well. That a lot of other people are still working with the same things you are. You know, set lists, going off the top, speaking from the dome. All those kinds of things are tough, and they take a time. I think they take a lot of time to really improve upon. And so, yeah, good to keep in mind as we continue to grow. Our next conversation comes from another Jess. This one, Jesse Hett from the Bay Area. And he's somebody that I met down in Eureka as well at the Savage Henry Comedy Festival. And we hit it off. We're both cat dudes, love working out. So I was stoked when he wanted to be on the pod. He's a hilarious guy, lovely man, tough, rough and tumble, son of a gun. So let's hear what kind of words of wisdom we can find from Jesse Hett. And I like to kind of start to wind down with a question about like how you've grown and what advice you would give your younger comedy self, or what do you wish you had focused on more throughout this process?
Oh, I think I definitely wish I would have gotten out and toured and traveled a little bit more, because I pretty much stuck to the Bay Area and the West Coast, and it's great, but it would be nice to have more fans in other cities, and be able to put together more tour dates where I'm not going to lose money, where I'm maybe going to break even, you know?
Yeah.
I think I would have said, like,
huge
it's not,
task.
Yeah, and like it's not scary to go other places to do comedy. If you're funny here, you will be funny there. You know, don't fucking. It's not like all my humor is like regionally specific about different bus lines and stuff. Like it goes fine in other places. Yeah, I think I would have said like get out a little more, and don't focus so much early on about like trying to be like sort of careerist about it, because I was really like, you got to have a clean 5 and then you got to have a clean 20, and so I was like sort of doing material that I wasn't like enthused about. And I think I would have said it's okay to like not be clean and to not do the things that the comedy books tell you to. You know, the comedy book written in 1987 tells you about career advice. Like you don't have
Judy
to
Carter. You don't have to follow everything Judy Carter's. I love the comedy Bible. I'm not shitting on the comedy Bible. Totally. I like both of them, but because you're writing, right? Yes, writing is good.
And it's okay to do stuff that you think is funny that maybe only works with half the audience 80% of the time. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to get everybody all the time, every set.
That's like a 30% yield, Jesse. I'm not good at math, but that's what it. Do you have any like people or voices or specific advice that you've received that kind of rings out in your ears regularly, or you try to keep in mind when you're performing or doing shit?
I think it's not as much a specific thing, but I get the weird anxiety before almost every set where I'm like, is this going to be the one where it's horrible and I completely forget how to do comedy? And I try to keep in mind that I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of comics that I really, really respect, both as comedians and as people. And everyone, like every time I've worked with somebody who I'm like, I've never met him before and I'm a little bit nervous about it, I'm excited to work with this person, they're always like, hey, you're funny, you're good at this. And I'm like, just remember that the people whose opinions really matter to me agree that I'm good at this and that it's okay for me to do this.
100%. It does. Those little pats on the back along the way are huge. You know what? I feel like that's really important. I feel like if you have even one person that you know is on your side, that can be enough to get you through a tough spot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm doing everything for this one fan or this one comic or my friend over here or my whoever. But when you're feeling like shit, remember that compliment someone gave you that was like, you know, I think of that joke to this day. Or like that set you did that night when we were here, that was the hardest I've ever laughed. Or whatever the case may be, those kinds of little just supportive comments are really important. And I think we're so quick to poo-poo those and like brush them aside. And I'm trying hard not to do that and not to cling on to them too hard either.
Yes. And I also, the flip side for me of that is always also remember to like express to other people when they've done something. It's like, it's because it's like a almost not nostalgia, but it is like a good feeling when you're like, oh dude, I was just thinking about that one bit you did that one time. And then somebody's like, that's the only time I've ever told that story on stage. And you get to be like, so glad I was there to see it. And if you you should work on that maybe.
Yeah. And sometimes that'll like spark a new 5 minutes. You know, if someone was like, that was a fun set, or you give somebody that idea, they're like, oh yeah, I can really build on that. Like it's so fun. And it's like when you're at a point where with a friend or whatever, where you can be like, oh, that set was so funny. That's such a great joke. I thought of a tag. When you can share tags with the friend, I feel like then you're like, oh, this is what comedy is about.
Totally. And when you can see when somebody has a rough set and you know that you have a good enough relationship with them that you can be like, man, you really ate shit there. This fucking audience sucks. Like it's their fault, not yours.
Yeah. No, it's fun to have years in the game and be able to kind of just be a part of it with other people, because that is the fun of it. It's like we're not doing comedy. We're up there on our own, but it's only fun if a group of people are experiencing it with us.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, dude. Oh, Jesse, it's so nice to chat and connect and like hear about working out, cats and curls and comedy with you, dude. You rock.
Yeah, Rudy.
I have always appreciated your vibe and your presence.
Thanks, man.
We've met a few times, but I see you online, and it's a blast to kind of feel this, hairy kinship with you.
Yeah, that is mutual, Rudy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting Rudy's awesome podcast. It kicks ass.
Right on. Words of wisdom from Jesse Hett. Get out of your backyard. That would be so nice. I'd love to do more comedy on the road. And whenever I do, I tend to have a really great time. I mean, sometimes there's hell gigs out on the road, but it's also important. Like Jesse was saying, if you're funny where you are, chances are you'll be funny where someone else is. So get out there, get on the road, have some fun. Rack up a little debt. Hopefully you don't get into too much. That's something that you also have to consider, because some people can take those trips where they take a bit of a net loss and other people can't. So comedy's not fair. Like, you got to be willing to sacrifice, and you got to be able to sacrifice. Not everybody is able to do that. So when you look at your bank account and what would happen if you went on this 3-week trip, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. It's up for you to decide, and I don't think it makes you any more or less of a comic if you decide you can't go. But if you can get on the road and do some shows, I urge you to. Just like Jesse was saying, it's a great thrill to be able to get out there and just kind of expand your base and see how it feels on the road. I think that's where we really get better. I think Birbiglia said something along the lines of like, the road is where you build your act. Home is where you like tighten stuff or kind of do stuff. I don't. Now I'm just freestyling, but the road is a great place to build the act. So that's something to consider as well. And also, I love what he was saying about being generous with compliments and your words and times and remembering compliments. Sometimes those can really help keep you along, buoy you forth. So it's nice to keep that in mind. So many of us, I think, are often like tight-lipped or hard to laugh or that kind of thing. And that's not the vibes that I want to put out there when I'm part of a comedy show or scene. So yeah, I think laughing is good. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think laughing is good. My third guest today that I'll be revisiting, another very funny comedian, Duante, from up in Seattle, Washington. And he's gone through a lot recently. He has had some surgeries and he's been in and out of the hospital. And so it's been a lot to kind of like, it's been a lot for him. I can see that. And so I'm interested to hear what his advice is and I wonder if he feels like he's been taking it recently as he's been going through hard times. And we'll see. So please enjoy this part of my conversation with Duante Barnett.
What would you tell earlier Dante to, like, hey, buddy, stay on this track, or keep this in mind, or here's what I wish I would have known?
Man, I'm the key. If you look back at everything I've done, I've always had like groups of people want to be around me for a certain amount of period. Right?
Mm.
And then once they find out they can't get enough out of me, or I'm not going to do things their way, they leave.
Mm.
There's not too many people who leave me and end up doing better.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
And I think about that even as I've always been the key.
Mm.
Right? I didn't know it. I was Asperger's, but all the girls always thought I was funny, and my friends would fuck all the girls, and I didn't know who to hit on, so I'd just be sitting there alone.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't come up to me and tell me I'm cute and you think I'm pretty, I don't think you're hitting on me. I'm Asperger's, right?
I hear ya.
And then it's just something that, like, I think everybody needs to hear. You are the star of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you thought about it, that everybody else is a co-star in your own movie, you might get a little further in your life. And I remember when we were at the festival, one of the guy's girlfriends was tripping out because we were all having a good time, and she was like, I don't know, and there's so many people here I don't know, and I don't know who to talk to. And I looked at her, I said, think about this like an RPG. In your story, they're all NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
And for you non-nerds out there, they're non-playable characters. They don't matter. There's so many people in a video game that are just there to fill because you got to have 100 people in a town, right? There's 100 characters on a video game that you can talk to and say hi to, and they're not going to really interact with you. They're just going to say some scripted thing, just like real life. And that is something I've worked on. That is something I've had to really realize, is that I am the star of my movie, which is my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I decide if this is an Academy Award-winning movie or if it's on Tubi.
There's nothing wrong with Tubi.
Sure. Nobody's dreaming of being on Tubi, though.
He's got a special on Tubi. He said, fuck the Academy Awards.
He said, fuck NBC, ABC, and Netflix and all this money. I'm going straight to Tubi. Said,
I got Tubi money.
And we're definitely flying in Spirit Airlines and catching Greyhound across America, right? And so
yeah.
I think that was the one, is that, and I'd give this advice to everybody. Remember, you are only as powerful as you believe, right? I wouldn't even say you believe. It's you're only going to be as successful as you want to believe you can be. A lot of people are going to hate you if you think you're bigger and holier now, and you think you're going to do all these great things. Great, cool. That's not your worry. It's not my worry that the guy across the street doesn't believe I can be a millionaire. It's my worry that the millionaires don't believe I can be a millionaire. Right? When I talk to rich people about the stuff I do, they're, oh my God, you need to keep working on that. When I talk to poor people, it's like, oh man, why would you do that, dude? Like, that's a whole lot of work. That's how you get there.
Yeah.
When this story comes out and I send it to you and you read the Medium, they're going to be gushing over me. Right? When business owners read this article about Suitman Productions, it's going to make it so much easier to get sponsors. When I've got this article that's posted online that's forever going to be there. Right? It's forever going to be out. Once it's published, it's there. I can get hard copies. This isn't something you can take away from me. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people want the results, and they don't put in the work.
Right.
And I think if you put in the work and you believe in yourself and you make yourself the star player and you do all the things, you treat yourself like a celebrity. You got to treat yourself like a celebrity. Say that again. Think about what I just said. You got to treat yourself like a celebrity. And when that starts happening, it's amazing. Like, I'm the suit man, But it's no difference between when I got the suit and when I don't have the suit on as far as who I am.
Yeah.
Right? So it's when you start doing that, being that, it's different.
Yeah. I love it.
Right on. Those are some words to chew on from Duante Barnett. You are the star of your own movie. You're the star. You're doing it. You got to take control, grab those reins, ride the bull by the horns, do all of that stuff. And I definitely think that that is true to an extent, you know. I am also rethinking my role in my movie that I'm a part of and how I am participating in it. Because I also think that sometimes that line of thinking can be a little myopic and get you into some challenges and troubles in the rest of your life. There's going to be challenges and troubles in everybody's life, no matter what. But I've found that by centering yourself too much, you can become isolated, alone, solitary, easily influenced or hurt. So keep that in mind as well. Yes, you are the driving factor in your life. You're the motor, the engine in your story. What kind of story do you want to tell? That's another way to look at that, to take that advice in. What kind of story do you want to tell with your life? I think it's a beautiful thing that we get to weave so many wild things together. I've got so many parts of my identity that are deeply meaningful and personal to me. From being a comedian, to a personal trainer, to a cat lover, to a Norwegian, to an international traveler, to someone who's taught and lived abroad for overseas, to a worker-outer, to so many different things, to an Eagles fan. You know, these are parts of my identity that I try to keep in line with who I am. And if those parts of my identity align with who I am and my deeper core root beliefs like integrity, honesty, value, contribution, respect, joy, connection, those are things that I want to keep in my life. And if pursuing other things doesn't align with my values, then I think it's time to question those things. And that's what I've been doing lately, is seeing how my pursuits and my passions and my loves align with who I want to be as a person. Do these pursuits make me more of the person I want to be? Do they contribute to the community around me in a way that I believe is powerful, beneficial, helpful, you know? And then I go from there. Because if I am the star of my own movie, then hopefully I'm not the only one watching. Hopefully I'm not the only one who enjoys it. I might be. And that's important too. Make sure you enjoy it. I want to make sure that I enjoy the movie, the story that I'm telling. I hope you enjoy the story you're telling with your life. I hope you're doing something fun today. I hope you get home and you get to share with somebody you love about something weird that happened at work or the gym or the mic tonight. And you feel better for it. You feel more connected. You feel more in alignment with who you are. Wouldn't that be nice, dog? Wouldn't that be nice if you were in alignment with who you are? I think it would be. I'm not saying I'm not saying you're not, but I'm just saying if you are, it'd be nice. So I hope you are feeling dandy. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you take something today into tomorrow and keep it moving. I hope you grow. Hope you do something fun. I hope you tickle something somewhere that gets that funny bone revving. Do you know how to rev that funny bone? Of course. One of my favorite wrestlers here in POW. Shout out to Funny Bone. Anyways, I hope you're doing great. We'll talk soon. Ciao.
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tyburczy.
Go Birds! How could I forget? Go Birds? Caw-caw! Fly Eagles fly, baby. I'll see you in the Super Bowl.